welcome to In the Arena. I'm your host, Mindy McAlindon, an Arkansas State Representative, a businesswoman, and a mom of four. On this podcast, we're tackling the issues that impact you, your family, and your community. Each week, I'll sit down with prominent leaders, from local trailblazers to national figures, to discuss the most pressing issues of our time. We'll explore policy, faith, education, and so much more, bringing fresh perspectives and actionable solutions to the table. So whether you're a community advocate, a concerned citizen, or simply someone who wants to stay informed, this podcast is for you. Together, we'll uncover insights, share stories, and spark conversations that matter. So thank you for walking with me on this journey to build a stronger future. So let's get started. Join me in the arena. Today in the arena, we are speaking with Joseph Wood. He is the chairman of the Arkansas Republican Party. But more than that, Joseph has a strong background. He worked for Walmart. He was the recruiter for Walmart International. He also was the first elected Black judge in Washington County in Arkansas. He went from there to be Deputy Secretary of State. He was also the Cabinet Secretary of Transformation and Shared Services under Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And he is currently just reelected as chairman of the Arkansas Party. So I think probably the most interesting part of Joseph that he has written two children's books, one called Saving Joey and one called Adopting Joey, all part of the Joey series. So let's bring Joseph on and see what he has to say.
Well, hello, Representative McAlindon. Good to see you.
Welcome, Chairman. How are you today?
Outstanding. Good to see you. It's been a couple of days since I've seen you last.
Because this week has been amazing, right? We were in D.C. together.
That's correct.
To experience the inauguration. So let's talk a little bit about that. Give me just your top line. What was it like being in D.C. to witness that?
Oh, my. It's always an interesting time being in D.C., obviously, with all of our country's monuments and the politicians running to and fro, and you get kind of caught in the whole hustle and bustle of it all. But this time, obviously, historic. We got a chance to participate in the transition of power, peaceful transition of power. President Donald Trump and Vice President Vance took the oath on Tuesday, and it was Monday, on January 20th, and on Martin Luther King's
I know, it's been a long week.
Yes, it's been a long week. But it was I think the highlight for me really was the swearing in, the oath, to uphold the United States Constitution and obviously to protect our country and fight for those things that are all American. So that was great. A lot of galas and receptions and balls and all that kind of thing. But the fanfare for me really was the oath of office.
Yeah. So let's talk about his speech, because I have to say, I can't remember a time that I have heard an incoming president just throw so many punches at his predecessor while his predecessor was sitting right there. Like, I thought it was amazing what he had to say. What do you think about it?
I wouldn't say that it was a direct affront on Biden as it is. This is the state of our country, and this is what's about to change now that I come in. You're exactly right. And in fact, I think I saw President Biden do a cross blessing or something like that. Like, yeah, you needed that before you came in office. But he really did. From right off the jump, he talked about the fact that, this country will be two genders, male and female. That's all we're going to have. I'm like, why did that have to be said? Because we spent the last 4 years of listening to some of the most insane arguments, and that guys can be in the girls' sports and be in her bathroom. And no, there's two genders, and that's all there is. And so I think that was the kickoff. And obviously, we got to secure our borders. We got he hit everything that he ran on, that we have been talking about. But clearly, the piece that got him in office was all about inflation. Our economy has been so devastating, and people and they did come out and vote their pocketbooks. Regardless of what you want to tell me, Kamala Harris and President Biden, we have been suffering under this type of weight, and we have seen our groceries go down, our gas prices go up. We have not been able to get our bearings together and take care of our family, and that's the economy. And so he really hit hard on getting his arms around our economy, and then obviously the safety and security of our country.
I agree. So I do think one of the most impressive things about him is even before he was inaugurated, the world was already seeing him as the president, and things were moving. Businesses were changing where they were going to be doing business. You have the hostages negotiation actually finally being successful. And to me, it just it just bodes well. I don't know about
I
you, but
did.
to me, that bodes really well for what's coming over the next 4
You
years.
saw it. You felt you knew it. And I would say that in our lifetime, I'm a little older than you. There's been a couple of presidents that kind of had that same type of, boy, these guys mean business. President Ronald Reagan was that way. I think when he
Yeah.
spoke, man, this guy's got a big stick. He's going to do something, or possibly could do something. I think George Bush #2, when the whole bombing of 9/11, et cetera, and where are you? We're listening, and I mean, I think they really got a sense that this cowboy from Texas is about the business, and clearly, I think they got it when President Trump got in the first term, and now he's back, and so it's business. This is about to get back to running our country.
Yeah, so I heard someone say that, you know, the first time he was elected, he spoke loudly and carried a big stick. But this time, he seems to speak softly and carry a big stick. And I mean, I kind of see the transformation. I mean, isn't that good?
It is.
And it is. You could tell it. You could tell he was a different man with a focus.
Well, I think obviously what happened in Pennsylvania, I mean, we only know about 2 or 3 attempts on his life, but I think there's probably been more that we don't know about. And that will change you. And again, not that I've had that attempt on me, close scares and all, but again, that causes you a lot of introspection, a lot of again, revealing who you really are and what are you made of, and why were you spared? What is this going to be, and what's going to be next? What's most important? And I think that has been really critical for him as you watch how he operates and how he speaks.
I agree. Okay, so I love talking about, because I think we have seen executive orders roll out every day this week, and more. Just he is doing what he came to do, and it's pretty impressive. So, but I'd love to talk about Chairman Wood a little bit more. So we can talk about Donald Trump anytime, but I'd like to talk about Chairman Wood. So, can you give us your story? I mean, your story. I know you've told it 100 times, but I'd love if you wouldn't mind just recap it one more time for me.
Well, again, in short, about a little less than 15 years ago, the laws in Illinois changed and said that if you ever adopted, I'm adopted, you can have your original birth certificate. And around the world, in particular in the U.S., everybody who's adopted wants their original birth certificate, their OBC. Why? Because it will have who their birth parents are, mom, dad, and any search or things like that they can go ahead and pursue. Medical information access, all of which you don't have when you don't have that original birth certificate, because you don't know who they are. The laws changed, and that was about 15 years ago, and they were swamped by the number of people looking for their original birth certificate. They took my money fast, Representative McAlindon. They took my money fast, but it was months before I actually got it. Having 3 daughters, 3 grandkids, I know what a birth certificate, 2 son-in-laws, I know what a birth certificate looks like. And when they finally sent it, it was a Foundling birth certificate. And I'm like, what's a Foundling? Had to look up the word. You were abandoned. You were found. And then actually it wrote on that certificate, you were found on this day. I'm 46 years old, 45, 46, and that's my birthday. And I'm finding out that wasn't my birthday. It was just the day I was found. It just blew me away. And I had to keep reading. You were found on this day by this man, Caesar Johnson, and you received an orphanage by this doctor. And I guess all kids going into the orphanage had to be checked out by a doctor. That's a lot to absorb after 45 years of thinking this is your birthday, and now you're being told, no, that's just the day you were found. And
nothing like what you were expecting or that you'd prepared for.
Nothing. My whole life I was looking and wanting to know some information. Now I'm finding out that I still don't have it. But I'm a fighter, so I said, I got to find that doctor who took me in the orphanage. I found him. He had died in 1999. I wanted to kind of find the guy who found me. And the very first number I called after whittling down all the Caesar Johnsons in Illinois, it was the first guy I called, and he tells a story. I can't believe he's even alive. One of the coldest days in Chicago, snow and ice. I'm going outside of my apartment complex to go to work. I just put my wife and kids to bed, and there's a box with a blanket moving in front of my apartment complex. I took my foot to move the blanket because I thought it was an animal. I didn't know what it was, and the blanket moved. There was a kid in there. I'm looking up and down the street. I can't see because it's nighttime. The snow and ice is blowing. And I picked up the box carefully, walked back in, woke my wife, woke the neighbors. And we walked around the neighborhood trying to figure out where this kid came from. Eventually, 2 or 3 hours later, they got the Chicago police to come. They walked the neighborhood and they said, you saved this kid. It's less than 8 degrees out here. We're going to take him to the orphanage downtown. And he said, that had to be over 50 years ago. And I'm bawling at this point. No, it's only 45 years ago. But that's the story. So part of me finding all that out, I wanted to write a story for my newest grandson, who's named after me. And he was probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old at that point. But I still didn't know how I got to the stairs. So I just made up the story and said that I bet it was a young teen who just had this kid bawling because she really wanted to take care of the kid, but she couldn't afford it to. And so she just took blankets off her bed. And in the children's book, I said she placed them in a basket that was in her closet and walked through the streets of Chicago and laid them in front of, set them in front of his apartment complex, hid behind a tree, and was hoping and praying somebody would come out. And eventually someone did. In real life, it was actually a box, as I found from him. But anyway, that's how Saving Joy and then Adopting Joy, the people who came and got me and foster cared me. I was an orphan. I was adopted at 10 years old, but they couldn't have kids, so they thought. And when they went and finally went to the orphanage after 5 years of marriage, and they went to go get a girl, but when they saw me, they nope, we want this little boy. They brought me home, foster cared me for a year, got pregnant, had my brother, got pregnant again, had my sister.
That's how it works every time.
3 kids just like that. So anyway, that was the story of Adopting
Isn't that
Joy.
funny? God wanted you adopted first.
Oh, or at least foster care. I didn't get adopted till after all the kids were there. So in fact, they were nervous, wondering, will you guys turn this kid back in now? Because now you're having your own kids. And again, they had to keep moving. And also, I was 10 years old before I was adopted.
Wow. It's such an amazing story. I appreciate you sharing it. I just think it is, I can't imagine as a grown man finding out like what you've always thought your history might be is totally different than anything you possibly imagined. And I love that you share it. And I love that you've written it in a book. And I would encourage people to go and to find that book, Saving Joey, right? And then Adopting Joey. So very good. And it's part of a series. You're going to do more.
I would like to do even more. Absolutely. Because 2 or 3 years ago, I found my biological family. And so there's a whole nother chapter for Joy. What has that been like? And it's been totally incredible. Huge, huge family. And they've embraced me. And that doesn't always happen. And so I'm blessed. And I thank the Lord for being with me from the very beginning of that journey and keeping me warm, if you will, in that blustery, wintry day all the way till now.
That's great. All right, let's flip to, this is a big change of pace, but let's flip to you getting into politics. So what brought you into politics?
Well, part of it was because that mom who adopted me, they got a divorce. So they adopted me at 10 years old as they were going through a divorce. I never knew all this stuff while I was going. I remember the divorce, and I remember mama saying, I have to pick up another job, and you have to take care of your brothers and sisters. What I wanted to tell her was, these are not my kids; they're your kids. And again, that was just a thought that I wanted to say. And I'm like, what do? I started a young teens club that the church gave me keys to the fellowship hall. Anytime you have anything you want to bring the kids in, keep them safe, bring them here. And so the teens and parents in the neighborhood really just said, yes, this is what we need. Thank you for putting on this and developing this. And it got me into now town hall meetings as the liaison between the young teens and the adults. Why don't we have better street lights, more lights in the parks where the kids are playing, all these type of things. And I was doing it because mama told me to keep my brothers and sisters out of trouble. The gangs and drugs prevalent in the city of Chicago, I was doing it because she told me, but it was something that all of the community moms and dads was looking for, something to keep their kids from getting caught up in the drugs and the gangs. I went to college and came back, and I'm like, the same issues are still happening here in Chicago. And that's when I switched parties. I was a Democrat forever. In 1988, a guy told me, he said, you know why you're so frustrated? Because I watch what you do on the school board, election commission. Now, you do all this. You're the biggest pro-life person I know, but yet every election Tuesday, you vote against everything you believe in. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, well, first of all, you talk to me as if I'm a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat, I'm a Republican. I'm like, what are you talking about? Everybody in Chicago is a Republican, black, white, old, young. He said, no, in fact, I'm a third generation Republican. This is a black old man and big mentor and friend of mine. And I never knew because everybody in Chicago, my mind was a Republican. He said, let me tell you about Republicans. As he started talking, scales fell off my eyes. I'm like, oh my, that's me. I switched parties right then and there.
Yeah.
Whenever George Bush won and Ronald Reagan came to town, that's who they're visiting with, this guy. Like, what? He is seriously? I think we're the only two Republicans in Chicago for all those years.
You might have been. Yeah.
But that's how I got started. I just continued to do this type of stuff, being involved in the community, being engaged in the school boards and elections. Then I came to Arkansas and I continued to do that. And then Mark Martin, who was the first Republican Secretary of State to run since Reconstruction, he said, I'm running for Secretary of State. And if I win, will you be my deputy secretary? I'm like, whoa. You'll pay me to do this stuff? My mother never told me. I just thought you volunteer and do all. He said, oh, yeah. He won, and we got sworn in. 2 weeks later, I got my paycheck and went to him. I said, so we really don't get paid, do we? But no, that has been my work.
Yeah. Welcome to government.
That has been my work. I've been vice chair of the party. I was 2-term state treasurer for the Republican Party here in Arkansas. In fact, you weren't here yet, but about 14, 15 years ago, I ran for chair of the party. I lost. They asked me to run for treasurer again. I did. And so I've been involved, very engaged for a long time, since, like I said, 1988, and a lot here in Arkansas.
Yeah. Now you have been, but I want to talk a little bit about being judge, which in Arkansas, for people who don't know, that's basically like the mayor of the county.
The governor of the county, yes,
judge. But you were
That's right.
Yeah. You were the first Black judge in Washington County.
In the state of Arkansas.
Talk a little bit about that, because you had a fight. You had a fight after you got elected. Getting elected was one thing, and then afterwards you still had a fight. So tell me a little bit about that.
So again, didn't know anything about that, but Washington County hadn't had a Republican elected in 39 years. And so that was huge. I had more votes than Donald Trump. It was a big election and big time. Again, first Black county judge in Arkansas's history, the first Republican in 40, almost 39 years up there in Washington County. But yes, as soon as I won the primary, if you will, the lawsuits happened. I mean, the next day. And so we had to get involved, get the lawyers and all that, and come to find out that I did exactly what was called to happen. I ended up winning that election. Had all intents and had tickets to go to the inauguration of President Trump then, but I canceled all that because I had all these lawsuits hitting me. And again, I just got sworn in. So anyway, from day one, I was the Black Donald Trump in Washington County for a long time. You say it was sunny outside and wood. Oh my gosh, they came with guns to bear. But we made a lot of significant change, helping our veterans, our veteran community. We were taking 30 to 40 veterans a month, taking care of them. We've now taken care of almost 300 veterans a month, getting them connected to their earned benefits, building roads and bridges, cutting budgets. I think in my first year, I cut over $1.5 million in my budget. And no other county judge had done something like that. I'm the new guy. I'm trying to learn from them. And they're like, how did you do that? Well, that's because I'm asking questions, and why do we have to do it this way? And can we not do, for example, our animal shelter had a veterinarian and maybe 2 or 3 vet techs. I had to pay that salary as well as benefits, even if a month went by and they didn't have any animals to operate on. I said, well, let's outsource that. We got a veterinary clinic that we can bring an animal to, should we have an animal that needs some operation. And we know what those costs are because we negotiated that on the front end. Big savings just with something as small as that. So anyway, it was a great.
I love that. And then you went from there.
Term. Say it again.
Yeah, so you did. You got reelected to a second term. And then the Governor Sanders, got elected, our current governor. She's amazing. And she tapped you to be the Secretary of Transportation and Shared Services.
Transformation and Shared Services. Well, now, while she was running for governor, I was running for lieutenant governor. I lost, and kind of disappointed, but we never had that many people running for lieutenant governor. That particular year, everybody named Mother was running, and I appreciate you for not running.
That was a
Thank
crazy
you very
race.
Much. But yes, after she won, she reached out and visited with me, and we talked about a couple of areas, and she said, but the transformation one, that's what you did. You transformed Washington County. We need that kind of efficiency, kind of like the current DOGE government efficiency that President Trump is doing. that's what we have here in Arkansas. And she
Yes.
really wanted me to kind of wrap my arms and help do that. And was happy to do so, really enjoying all that. And then she said, you know what, have you thought about the chair of the party? I started laughing. I said, Governor, you were a freshman in college 15 years ago when I ran for chair of the party.
Yeah.
And she started laughing. I appreciate you thinking that was that young, but I was out of college when you did
I
that.
love it.
I only lost by single digits, but there's become an opportunity to
There's
look
not
at
much
it again.
difference.
And so I looked at it again, and
Yeah.
here we are just now running and won our second term in there. So
Yeah, and you got elected overwhelmingly at the election we
both
just had,
times. Yeah,
right, in December.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
That's right.
actually, yeah, you're right. Both times, overwhelmingly. So you are a well-known commodity within Arkansas Republican Party. People trust you. They love what you've done. Your wife is probably one of your biggest assets, I have to say.
No
June is
doubt.
amazing as well.
No
So
doubt.
tell me what your vision is for the Republican Party of Arkansas over the next 2 years of your term.
Well, and I think I shared that when I first ran, that I want us to be an exemplary party in the state of Arkansas, that anybody who's even thinking about politics or joining or doing anything, I want them to think about the Republican Party first. I want them to think about our leadership and the policies that we execute, the legislation that we pass. They think about Representative Mindy McAlindon, or they think about a Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders when they start thinking about, yes, that's what I want to get involved in and be a part of. But more than that, I want us to be the example for the country. I want all around the country people to say, I want what Arkansas's got. I want the leadership that they have. I want the policies that they execute. And I tell you, I've seen that vision come to start to fruition as I travel around the country. I hear this over and over again. How did you guys do what you did? You guys got chairmanships up and down in the federal delegation. All your federal delegation got chairmanships. That's leadership.
Amazing.
That's leadership. What are you guys doing to have super majorities in the House and Senate? That's, again, continuing to tell our story that we have been over the last number of decades. And finally, the folks in Arkansas are saying that's exactly what we need and want. So that's my vision. Over the next couple of years, continue to focus on communication. So what you're doing with in the arena with Mindy McAlindon, I think that's exactly a way to kind of showcase and continue to communicate what we're doing, how we're doing it, how it benefits the folks in Arkansas.
I love that. Thank you so much. So I am excited because I feel like Arkansas plays above its weight. Just like you said, our federal delegation, everybody has a gavel.
That's
right.
right.
We have got Florida might disagree with me, but I think we have the best governor in the country
I'd
with
say
Sarah
that all
Sanders.
the time.
And
We do.
so, like I said, we
Exactly
do.
right.
And her vision for conservatism is amazing, right? She has done more. I say she has done more in the 2 years she's been in office to advance conservative principles than all of our other governors combined. And she's not done.
That's correct.
She is not done.
Pedal to the metal, as she will always tell the cabinet members. And either you guys going to do it with me or I'm going to do it without you. So she is truly focused on that.
That's right. Yeah, that's
and it's always going to be about the same thing. It's going to be upholding our faith, ensuring and protecting our families and the future and the freedoms that we have. And that's, again, economic freedoms. We can't draw businesses into the state of Arkansas if our education is not right. She's been a stalwart and pushing and transforming our education. So it's been nonstop. And again, we got a legislative body that supports her, and she supports what they're working toward and on. And so our message over the next couple of years is how do we combine and work with the House, the Senate, the governor, as well as the county committees and county chairs to communicate and get that out. We still, as strong as we are, as red as we are, we still don't have city halls. We still don't have library boards. We still don't have school boards across the board. And that's where the rubber meets the road. We may have our supermajorities in House, Senate, and federal delegation. But man, when you start talking about what's happening in the school boards and our city councils, it matters. And so we got to continue to push that message, unify and communicate.
I love that. Okay, so here's the tough question. We have 81 out of 100 in the House, and we have 29 out of 35 Republicans in the Senate. So the election in 2 years, are we looking to gain seats? Is it possible to
that
gain
would be the hope. Absolutely. I think we're going to, and here's why. We saw what just happened in this last cycle. We had 4 victory offices. Never had 4 victory offices before in the state of Arkansas. We had 4, and we retained those young, talented folks who run those victory offices, and they're spending a lot of time working through the data to see what were the gaps and margins that we won by, where were we tighter in, and they're working through that. So we'll have all of this to work on and towards before we get to the next election cycle, so we can continue to grab even more, to communicate even better our message, so we will be able to say, you know what, we were this close to flipping, and we were a couple of houses where we almost could have flipped out in West Memphis area and all. So I see a vision that we will pop a few more seats in 2 years because of that.
That is pretty exciting, I have to say. So,
I'm excited about it.
Well, Chairman, I have taken up a lot of your time today. I am so grateful for the opportunity just to have you on and to share your story, because it is an amazing story. I like to say you're like an onion. I just keep peeling back more and more stories about how you've become who you are, and the amazing things you've been able to accomplish. So, and actually, I need to have June on, because June is equally, your wife.
I want to make sure I share.
And
well, I want to make sure that those folks who pay attention and follow in the arena with Mindy McAlindon, I send my, again, congratulations on, again, your reelection to state representative here in Arkansas. I want to say congratulations again on your National Committee women reelection, as well as being part of the RNC's budget committee, your reelection to that last week, I think it was, or I can't remember when we voted, but yeah, it was last week. So you're making it happen. We're going to go ahead and make you an honorary Arkansan. You're here. You're one of us. I know you come from other places, but you're one of us. Thank you very much for all you do for us in the party.
Thank you. That's a big deal, because in Arkansas, there are parts of Arkansas, if you're not 5 or 6 generations in Arkansas, you're not considered an Arkansan. So I'll take that any day.
Yeah, you are a big Arkansas. You are a big Arkansan.
All right. Joseph, thank you so much for joining me today in the arena, and I will look forward to connecting with you again soon. Oh,
take care.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our guest, Chairman Joseph Wood, today. He has such an amazing story, from being found in a box on the streets of Chicago to rising up through state politics, as well as becoming the state chairman of the Republican Party of Arkansas. He really has a strong history, a strong conservative background, and a clear vision for where he wants to take the party in Arkansas. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you will check out his book, Saving Joey and Adopting Joey, 2 kids' stories that really tell the story of his foundling as well. So anyways, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed In the Arena.